This is why you should never explore abandoned ships. In 2014, the US Navy decided to decommission one of its oldest ships, so it brought it into port to be broken down for scrap. Before workers were allowed to actually start breaking it down, the foreman had to go on board and take pictures of every room. So late one night, the foreman spends about an hour walking through this abandoned ship with a flashlight, taking about 100 pictures. When he was done, he emailed the pictures to his boss, who quickly wrote back, "Who's the guy with the axe?" The foreman had no idea what he was talking about, but he noticed the boss had attached one of the pictures that he had just sent him. When he opened it, he nearly fainted. There, in the bowels of the ship, poking his head around a corner, was a faceless man wielding an axe. The foreman had spent over an hour in this hallway and never heard or saw this guy. The Navy searched the ship and never found this guy. They also reviewed security footage of the only entrance, and he never entered or left the ship.
Welcome to the first official video for my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a full tutorial of this half and half snowman look. It's the first Christmas look I've done for this year, so really keen to show you guys how I've done it. I also just wanted to say thank you so much for 73,000 subscribers. It's so random. I didn't think that would happen, especially just from posting my TikToks on YouTube, but now I'm definitely going to start trying to get into doing some full tutorials for you guys. So please let me know your suggestions on what you want to see the most, and I'll try and do them around my work and everything like that. But I hope you guys like this. And first I got to block out one of my eyebrows, so I'm going to be using the UHU glue. Yes, it is a glue stick. They are not toxic and they're safe. They're safe to use in school, they're safe to use on your skin. I'm obviously only leaving it on for a short time, so it's not a problem. But anyway, this is the only way that you can block out your eyebrows. You can use spirit gum, but that's a little bit stronger and it's a lot harder to get off. And I don't want to lose my eyebrow. So we just have to do this a few times. So we're just rubbing back and forth the glue, pushing the hairs right up, flat as we can. You only want to push down on the first layer. If you want a full eyebrow blocking tutorial, let me know and I can do a full block. I'm still going, I'm on like my 7th layer maybe, so it does take quite a few to build up to get rid of all the texture. Speed up the drying process a little bit by fanning it in between. Next thing that you want to do is just remove any excess glue around the eyebrows. You can see it's quite full of product. I'm going to set it with the super white Ben Nye face powder. Using a damp beauty blender, just going to pack fair bit of product onto that brow, and then I'm just going to lightly, very lightly dust away the excess. I've actually decided that I'm going to color correct, so I'm going to be putting an orange over top. So I'm just going to mix the yellow and red from my iMagic Flash palette, and we're just placing it right over the hairs. And you don't want too much product, otherwise it's hard to conceal the orange. Straight over again with the Ben Nye white powder again. So the next step I'm going to do is get started on the normal makeup side. I'm going to start by dividing the face up and doing the rough shape. I'm going to try and do some dripping so it looks like the snowman's melting as well. So I'm just going to be using the NYX eyebrow pencil just as a guideline for the shape I want. Right, so now I've got the rough shape that I want, and I've taken it right down onto the neck and chest as well. I am wearing a top as well, but I wear strapless tops when I do chest and body paint. Next part is going to be pretty basic. I'm just going to be doing a normal makeup on this side. I'm going to be priming this side of my face with the Glass Skin Primer by Revolution. It's nice and dewy. For my foundation today, I'm going to be using the Napoleon Pettis Stroke of Genius foundation in the shade Look 1. And I'm just going to buff that in with a damp beauty blender. Around all of the dripping, I'm just going to go in with a concealer brush and try and get closer in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Concealer, I'm going to be using the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate. I use the shade C1. A little bit under my eyes, and just as an eyeshadow base on the lid as well. It's over my pimples. A little bit of cream bronzer. I'm using the Huda Beauty Tan Tour in Fair. Putting that up onto a Real Techniques angled contour brush and just dabbing motions cheekbone. I'm gonna add a cream blush. I'm using the Cheek Switch cream blush from Napoleon Patterns in the shade Save the Coral. Just loading that up onto a dewy fibre brush. I'm done with all the cream products. I'm gonna go set the face with the Flower Beauty Miracle Glow Satin Finishing Powder. I love this one, it's really good. Mine's a little bit broken, so it's all in the lid. Just lightly set all over the face. This is a slightly smaller buffing brush to put the powder on the under eye and lid. Adding the contour, I'm using the Hoola Bronzer by Benefit, a small platinum brush. Some blush to add some colour to the cheeks. I'm using the MAC Extra Dimension blush in the shade Rosy Cheeks and a Flower Chiseled blush brush. And you don't need a lot, these are really pigmented, so just straight onto the apples of the cheeks. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Guerrero palette. So I just sort of do a mixture of the pinky shades, and I'm using a Morphe M510 brush. Next thing I'm going to do is fill in my normal eyebrow. So I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Unbeliever Brow. It's just like a liquid pomade sort of thing, and I'm just using the brush that it came with. Just decant a little bit of product and fill in as normal. I just go one line under the eyebrow and blend up in a line across the top. I'm just going to pop some of my P. Louise Basic Touch of Frost Blue Base on the eye. So I'm just using an eyeshadow brush to tap that in. Stacey Marie Carnival palette. I'm just going to go in with some of the blues. So I'm going to use this one here and this one. So I'm just going to tap that onto the lid. I'm going to add some of the P. Louise base onto the lower lash line. I'm going to go in with the navy blue and blend and just build up a little bit more depth. Just going to run a little bit of that navy blue underneath as well. Getting a little bit more of that blue base. I'm just going to quickly do a little bit of a cut crease. And a little bit of the blue sapphire from the Kat Von D Alchemist holographic palette. And just bringing back the fluffy eyeshadow brush with whatever's left on it and just blending those together. Finish this off with some liner and lashes, and I'll be back. The normal side is completely finished. It's time to jump into the actual Snowman SFX side of it. I'm going to start by filling in the whole side with a white base. So I'm going to be using the Ben Nye Clan White for this side. I'm just going to start applying with a makeup buffing brush. Go over the ear, start bringing it down, and just as we get to the drips, I'm going to try and do the same thing and carve out around the lines. With my buffing brush and trying to work it right into the skin. Just going in with a smaller detail brush to fill in all of these details down here. Slightly bouncing over all of that with a beauty blender just to make sure it's nice and smooth. Same Ben Nye Super White powder. I'm just going to set all of this in. Start adding some contour to the white side of the face, and I'm going to be using some of the blues from that same Carnival palette. In with the light blue, and I'm going to try and create some contour on the cheeks like you would a bronzer. The same around the forehead as well, adding a bit of shadow there. I'm going to be adding some shape to the nose. Adding a bit more shadow in a few other places. I'm just using this peachy shade here from that same palette, and I'm just applying that to the cheeks as a little blush colour. I'm going to be using some of the brown and black shades from the same palette, and I'm going to be creating some shadows underneath and around all of the drip areas. So I'm just going in with the shade Intuition. The shading is done. I'm going to go and do a eye look, pretty much the same thing on this one, and I'll be back again. Okay, so now I'm going to draw on the nose, so I'm just going to remove a little bit. I'm just going to mix the yellow and the red shade from the Flash palette. I'm just going to bring in those little grooves that a carrot has. Fine tip brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of white and highlight those spots. I'm going to go over my mouth a little bit with the white. Black shade from my Flash palette, and that same fine brush, I'm just going to draw on some stones onto the mouth area. So we'll probably do about 3, starting from the mouth. Rough shape, and I'm just going to fill it in. The shape of those is laid down. I'm just going to set over them quickly with a translucent powder, just using the RCMA powder. I'm just adding some shadows sort of around the edges of the stones to make it look like they're 3D, sort of really pushed in the same shadow colours as I used for this area. I'm just doing random edges of the stone. Using some of the Napoleon Pettis China Doll white eyeliner just to do some accents on the stone. I'm just tracing around the stones just to sharpen the shadow a little bit more. Using the blue sapphire, I'm just going to highlight some of the high points of the face. So this is the completed look, a half snowman. I really hope that you all like it. This was really fun to do, and I'm hoping to do more full tutorials in the future, so please comment below and let me know what sort of tutorials you want to see, if you want to see normal makeup or more of these face paint ones. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. I've also linked down below all of my other socials if you want to follow me on there to see more of my content. Thanks guys, bye!